Hey everyone, welcome to another lesson. In this one, we're going to talk about the split method, which is a very simple tool in Python to actually split text and string into a into a list. So the idea with this is that this comes pretty handy if you want to essentially get information, maybe a series of lists, names, and like turn them into a list. For example, we can say cities. Let's say we define a variable and say we input, all right? And let's say we ask, please enter the cities separated by a comma. So what I want is that I want to receive this information from the user. All right, let's actually do this. And let's say we add a bunch of cities and add commas and all that. Let's say I want to receive this information from the user and I want to turn it into a list. And the reason for this is that maybe we want to process it, maybe we want to use it throughout the program, but we want to process this and we want to turn it into a list. And there's really no clean way to do this if you think about it based on what we know so far. But there's a very useful function in Python, and it's called split function. And this allows you to actually separate stuff based on a indicator. So for example, if I actually make another variable, I'm going to say cities clean, all right, or list. All right. And we're going to say cities, so the original like input that we received from the user. And here what we're saying is very important. So I'm saying that please enter the cities separated by a comma. So that's the indicator that is really, really important. I'm telling that, hey, enter these cities separated by a comma. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to say cities and dot split, and we're going to open the parentheses and have our obviously quotation marks in there because we're working with a string, right? And then I'm going to add a comma space. So the thinking with this is that I'm going to get anything inside this, anything the user entered, and split it by taking the comma and a space out and putting it in a list. So here's how it would actually look like. So if I actually say print, and we're going to print cities list. There we go. So if I actually display this, let's actually see how it works. So if I enter a bunch of cities, for example, Las Vegas, and we're gonna say Los Angeles, New York, San Francisco. All right. So we entered a bunch of cities. So if I enter, take a look at the result. So it put the all the cities into a list. So we see the brackets here, right? And there you go. So we got Las Vegas, LA, New York, and San Francisco. See guys, so basically what we did is that we turned this entry by the user to a list. And this can be incredibly useful. Again, you can separate it by other things if you want, then this can be incredibly useful when you're dealing with like the receiving information and we don't process it in the program. And that's something that we will talk about in the next practice because we want to work with this. So I wanted to point this out. This is a very useful function. This is a very useful method to actually work with numbers and work with string and all that stuff. So definitely practice this. Try to do your own split, get some input and try to create a split and all that. And you can actually do a lot of interesting stuff with it. You can actually, we can do a lot of like randomization and things like that with this, which is something we will do in the next lesson in the practice. So let me know if you have any questions about the split method. And if not, I'll see you in the next lesson.